Oh, listen to all these guys, Brett Okamoto, Gianni the Greek, talking up Floyd Mayweather. Flo, I kind of already made my pick, but we'll see which way I go. Before we get to the pick, real quick, Flo, totally out of the realm of possibility that McGregor is actually the fresher fighter late, having like worn Mayweather down with his size and being a nuisance in the clinch?
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think you're talking about a guy who's had 49 fights, who is a model of efficiency in the boxing ring. And again, this is still, at the end of the day, Conor's first time in a boxing ring. And no matter what kind of shape you're in, and I hear Conor is in insane shape right now, best shape of his life, as he should be in a fight of this magnitude, he still hasn't fought a professional boxing match for 12 rounds. It's totally different. Going out there and doing it in sparring and doing it in a fight is totally different. And doing it against maybe one of the best boxers, top 3 ever, that's a tall task, man. I still think Floyd will be the guy who's not breathing as hard at the end if it goes 12.
I'm glad you said that top 3 ever, because we're going to come back to that. So let's first update the standings, Flo. Long time ago, UFC 214, UFC Mexico City. So Team Florian led Team Anik 60-59. You picked up, well, you didn't pick up 5 points, but you have 5 points to Team Anik's 4 against the likes of Matthew Holt and, of course, TJ DeSantis. You had Sergio Pettis in there as an underdog. Now, Matthew Holt's probably listening to this thinking, why aren't you guys giving me credit for my underdog picks on Ricardo Lamas and Brian T. City Ortega? And that's because those fights weren't official picks. So 65-63 for Team Florian heading into the money fight. And because this is boxing and not mixed martial arts, I don't need a guest picker today. I can make a pick on my own. I'm a big boy. I'm a man. I'm 40. So Floyd Mayweather, Flo, right now, the minus 475 favorite. That's the working number for the show. The comeback on Conor McGregor is at plus 380. So with our scoring system here in the main event challenge, you get an extra 3 points for picking Conor McGregor should he win. So when this fight was first rumored, Conor could be had around plus 950. When the fight was announced, McGregor was plus 500 or so. He is now plus 380. You heard from Gianni the Greek in terms of the money that has come in on Conor McGregor. And with all of that said, because I always want Ken Flo to have the final word, I'm going to lead off. So Floyd Mayweather, one of the all-time greats, Ken Flo. When I covered boxing for about 5 years, though, I was disappointed that the boxing historians and experts didn't give Mayweather enough credit historically for what he had accomplished. Do you know the name Ron Borges? You got to know Ron Borges.
I do.
Right?
I actually have. He's been to the boxing gym that I was at in Boston a few times, and I know
he interviewed you. He probably interviewed
did.
you for the Boston Globe at some point, right?
Yes.
So long-time former Boston Globe boxing and football writer. So I've done a lot of radio shows with him in Boston, had him on a guest on my show in Vegas several times, and when I last spoke to him, but sometime between 2008 and 2010, Kenny, he didn't even consider Floyd to be top 25 all-time.
Wow.
So there are a lot of guys who don't see Floyd as this all-time top 5, top 10 great boxer. Ron didn't even think he was top 25 all-time. That being said, he's 49-0. Never really has been flat on fight night. You've heard me say that a lot. And even during fights in which he got tagged early, he's found a way to recover, to adjust masterfully, and to dominate the rest of the fight. So some suggest, as Gianni the Greek did earlier today, that fighting McGregor is the path of least resistance, the easiest path to 50-0, seemingly easier than fighting a pure but not necessarily elite pro boxer. So from the outset, and again, this is one man's take, right? This isn't me trying to push any UFC agenda, nothing like that. But from the outset, I haven't seen it that way. I've given Floyd credit, actually, for taking on a guy, Kenny, who presents some unknowns and challenges that he may not have seen before, and especially to be doing so at 40 years old on the heels of what will be a 714-day layoff. So at this point, I would also say, in my humble opinion, Mayweather has not been touched with the money punch, right? Mosley tagged him, others too, but the real power shot that makes him want to take a knee and preserve his brain for the future hasn't been landed. And if I had to pick an individual right now in his weight class on the UFC roster to land that shot right now, it would be Conor McGregor. I feel like he's maximized the preparation time. He is as focused as ever as to what he's trying to do. Can he stay true to the game plan and actually execute it? I think he can. I think the fight's going to be competitive. I think McGregor can win it. I think his size and his power will be major factors. I think he will hurt Floyd early with a shot. And perhaps, unlike in previous fights, Mayweather won't find it as easy to recover. I think McGregor can bully him in clinch situations, depending on how long the fight goes. I think Floyd does have the advantage in the latter rounds. I agree with you. I'm not sure we're going to get there, though, Ken Flo. I think McGregor catches him early and gets him out of there. I will take Conor McGregor by way of knockout in round 2.
Wowzers. Well, listen, it could happen. It could happen. It's been a crazy year. McGregor is extremely confident. I mean, I can't wait for this fight. Here's the thing. This is the contrast for me. Do I go with the power of self-belief, a faith that McGregor has shown time and time again? And I think what people don't see in McGregor is what he does as far as inspiration, what he has done as far as to turn his dreams into reality. And because of that, I will always be a Conor McGregor fan. I have been since day one, since before he was even in the UFC.
Yep.
This guy has changed the sport as we know it, and changed the economic landscape for fighters as we know it. And he will still go down as one of the greatest ever. However, he is not a professional boxer. And when we look at what Floyd Mayweather has done, let's look at some of these guys. And I don't have time to go in and look at their records. You can go and do that. But let's talk about some of these boxers, all right? Canelo Alvarez, a phenomenal boxer. Check out his record. Miguel Cotto, Sugar Shane Mosley, Juan Manuel Marquez, one of the most technical boxers that I've seen defensively, offensively. Oscar De La Hoya, Zab Judah, Jose Luis Castillo, 2 times. Now, these are unreal boxers. These guys, all they do is throw hands. And you look at the kind of guys that they've beaten, and Floyd Mayweather beat all of those guys and more. 49 men, 0 losses. We're looking at instances that are less than the amount of fingers on one hand that Floyd has been caught by these guys, okay? I just don't see it. I would love for it to happen. I would love for Conor McGregor to go out there and represent mixed martial arts and knock this guy out. I just don't think it's going to happen. And in fact, I think the odds are closer to the fact that Floyd Mayweather may get the stoppage. I mean, this is what he does. The same way, again, if Floyd was going to fight Conor in a mixed martial arts fight, it wouldn't go longer than a minute. He'd be out of there in 30 seconds. And that's why you have to respect respect Conor for going out there and competing against one of the best boxers of all time. He will get an amazing payday because of it. However, I just don't see it happening. I would love for it to, but Floyd Mayweather wins this fight.
Oh, a lot to digest there. And I would also say, too, based upon our scoring system, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't part of the factor here in getting 3 extra points if Conor wins, right? If I'm trying to save a puppy's life here, I can certainly outline a scenario for Floyd Mayweather, and especially hearing from Gianni, and I invoke his name once more because he texted me within the last week, don't fall for the hype, J.A. We will never see as much betting value in our lifetime as we have available to us in this fight. And again, this show does have a betting slant, Kenny, right? We talk about it a lot. I've always found it to be an interesting lens through which to look at these sporting events, fights, and otherwise. And I think it really is interesting to hear Vegas's take and now to see if the accompanying cash flow comes in on Floyd Mayweather, because there are a lot of people who are going to eat crow. And I have no problem cracking these airwaves on Monday of next week and saying, hey, I was totally wrong. Floyd outclassed him over 36 minutes or wore him out or knocked him out in the middle of the fight. But on the other side, Kenny, a lot of these people have set themselves up. Somebody's really going to be – there's going to be one side that's going to want to say I told you so. I never care much for those words. But one side is going to be eating a lot of crow, Kenny, because there are a lot of intelligent people that just scoff at the notion that this fight will be competitive even for a minute. So I don't know, man. Very interesting.
Yep.
Mondays might be the most interesting show we ever do. And you left Carlos Baldomir out of that list of Mayweather opponents, by the way.
Yes.
He threw that big melon around quite a bit, right?
Yes,
so if you're thinking that Conor's going to rough him up, again, he has taken on all comers. 49 have tried. None have succeeded. Maybe he'll be flat on August 26th. And I would also say in closing, and maybe my McGregor pick is rooted in this, Kenny, but I do believe that if Conor is able to get a knockdown, right?
Yeah.
I think if there's enough time in the round and Floyd gets back to his feet, I think Conor can close the show, whereas other guys maybe haven't had the power to do that. So
he just might.
We'll see how it plays out.